Edward is one of the oldest and wisest engines on the island of Sodor. He does all his work with no fuss and is helpful to any engine who needs it. One day, Edward was preparing a passenger train when James arrived with his train. "Peep, peep," he whistled with vanity. "While you're preparing trains, please go fetch my trucks." "I'm preparing my train," replied Edward. "Besides, why don't you do it yourself? Are you afraid to get dirty?" "Pah!" scoffed James. "An important engine like me shouldn't have to go into sidings." "Well, you're going to have to anyway," sighed Edward. "If I fetch your trucks, then you need to put away your coaches." And with that, he left the platform. James scowled and shunted his coaches into a siding. After James returned to the platform, Edward was still collecting his train. "Hurry up, Mr. Slow Coach," he said. "I have work to do." Edward was very annoyed. But then he got an idea. "Well, if I'm Mr. Slow Coach, then it shouldn't be a challenge to beat me in a race." "Of course not," snapped James. "Then why don't you prove it? Get your train to the docks first and prove to the whole island that you can beat the old iron." "Oh, I will," said James. He didn't realize that he wasn't coupled to his train yet, but Edward was ready to start and James was just too cocky. "All right then," he said. "Ready, set, go!" And like lightning, James raced out of the station, while Edward waited for the conductor's whistle to blow and then started off. James soared down Edward's branch line. People waved to him as he passed, including a signalman. "I really am a splendid engine," he thought. "It's nice for people to wave." He whistled and whooshed down the line as Edward puffed steadily behind him. James continued to puff down the line, and the docks were soon coming into view. He reached the docks and made his grand entrance. "Here's James!" Presently, Salty started talking. "Ahoy there, James," he said. "What are you doing here?" "I'm delivering some trucks," James replied. "Can't you see?" "Then where be your trucks, me hearty?" "Oh, you have got to be kidding me." "That's right," said Edward, entering the docks. "And I said I was the first to deliver their train to the harbor. Since you haven't, that means I won the race." Salty laughed. James's face went as red as his boiler, and it was hard to tell if it was from anger or embarrassment. But that night, Sir Topham Hatt scolded James. "You have caused confusion and delay by leaving your train behind, James." James looked at his buffers. "And Edward, it was very out of character you to challenge James to a race." "I'm sorry, sir." "As punishments," he went on, "you two will be left here tomorrow to think about your actions." The next morning, James spoke first. "Look, Edward, I'm sorry, No, I am," interrupted Edward. "I shouldn't have egged you on into doing that race." "Well," said James, "I still want to say I'm sorry for being rude. I was feeling particularly moody and I guess I couldn't control myself." "Well, as long as we're both sorry," said Edward, "then everyone comes out happy." James agreed unconditionally. So that's going to be all for this video, guys. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. But that's all for now, guys. This is the Blue OJ Leader, and I'll see you later.